Hey, this is Matt with Completely Fair Games. I just want to show you some of the progress we've made over the past few months on this limited release of Alpha 2.0. There's been a lot of changes since the last video. We've implemented magic, elves, traps, and a whole lot more, but we spent a lot more time fixing bugs and making the game more fun. To be honest, it's not quite ready for release, but we're getting closer. We really want to get this release right the first time, so please bear with us. Let's look at some of the new features in the game. One of the things you'll notice is down here in the bottom left corner, the Minimap. It shows your dwarves and the terrain. You can zoom in and out by pushing these buttons. And we also implemented this feature where if you click on the map, you zoom to that location. If you get stuck, you can push home to go back. Some pretty basic stuff. I'm going to push 1 to select all of my dwarves, and then 2 to tell them to mine. Now, if I push Q, I can slice down to an area of the terrain, and E to unslice it. I can also use the page up and page down keys or these buttons to move up and down slices. I'm just going to select them all and tell them to start mining 2 rooms and 2 entrances. To do this, I'm just clicking and dragging. As the dwarves mine, you can see this +1 XP appearing above their heads. As dwarves complete tasks, they earn experience points, which can be used towards promotions. When dwarves get promoted, their skills increase, but so does their pay. Now as they're mining, you can see them dropping resources. We're later going to collect these resources and use them for trading and building. Okay, looks like they're just about done mining, so I'm going to go over here and select my crafts dwarf. There he is. And then I'm going to tell him to build a stockpile, just by hitting build and then stockpile. I'll just click and drag out a stockpile here, and then he's going to go up there and start building. Now we're going to select all the dwarves and tell them to gather the items that they just mined. Gathering has been a lot more streamlined since the last video. Dwarves can now carry a limited number of items before they have to take it to a stockpile. And we found that this made it a lot faster than when they just had to carry 1 item. And when they get to the stockpile, they just sort of chuck it in there like they're throwing a football. A lot less realistic, but way faster. Now let's take a look at building rooms. I'm happy to say that all the rooms in the game are now more or less functional. Here we have the stockpile, the balloon port, bedrooms, common rooms, library rooms, mushroom farms, training rooms, wheat farms, and so on. And I think I'm just going to start by building a common room, which has to be built underground and requires 1 wood and 1 stone for every 4 tiles that the room takes up. It looks like I have enough wood here in my stockpiles, but not enough stone. So as I click and drag this out, you'll see it'll say we don't have enough resources. So let me gather the resources that are needed and try to build it again. Okay, after I've gathered the necessary amount of stone, the crafts dwarf goes and begins building the room. You can see the progress bar above his head indicating how much time is left. When that's done, the room and everything in it will be built automatically. There we go, some tables, chairs, and lamps. The dwarves sit down immediately and begin speaking to one another. You can see the +5 happiness appearing above their heads. Certain events will make dwarves either happier or sadder. If they're very sad, they will refuse to work. Now I'll just build a bedroom, and as I'm building it, you can see the dwarves are actually eating mushrooms as they're sitting there. The mushrooms are just kind of getting teleported from the stockpile. That'll be important because soon we're going to build a mushroom farm to harvest more food. If dwarves don't get enough food, they eventually starve to death. Okay, I'm just going to build a mushroom farm here, which just requires 1 mushroom every 4 tiles. And that'll allow me to introduce farming. And this crafts dwarf is getting a lot of work today. So farming is super simple. You just select any kind of dwarf and then click on the farm button, which appears over the farm, and the dwarf just goes and hits a square in the farm for some time until a plant appears. And when he's done, the plant can be harvested as normal, just like any other plant in the world. We hope to make this a little bit more complex and realistic in the future, but for now, this is a good step 1 solution. Training rooms are now somewhat functional. Dwarves will go and hit the straw men to gain XP. Not much, but good for now. One of the more interesting features we've introduced since the last video is crafting. If you build a workshop room like this one, you now have access to the item menu. There's only 2 items right now, bear traps and lamps, so I'm going to build a bear trap because it's more interesting. Requires 4 iron, and as I build it, you can see a craft pile get placed. The dwarf goes and collects the resources, then goes to the workshop to build the item, and then he'll just place it down where I told him to. And there we have a bear trap. If creatures run over the bear trap, they will be damaged depending on their dexterity. I'm going to put a goblin in the world just to see if he gets damaged. Oh, he dodged it. Let me try another one. Bam, there we go. Dead goblin. And the bear trap is destroyed. Crafts dwarves can also build walls. It's basically the same as in previous versions, but now it's a lot more robust to failure. One of the users on the forums really helped us in debugging wall building. And so now it's a lot more streamlined, and the crafts dwarf is a lot less likely to get stuck in the process of building a large structure. Magic is a brand new feature in Alpha 2.0. When you build a library, you'll see that it produces these bookshelves, potion tables, and mana crystals, and a wizard can be selected to go and research new spells. Here I know 2 spells, which are just inspect spells, and I have the ability to research new spells in this tech tree. You can see that things are arranged sort of in a tree structure here, and I have to research certain spells before I can research more advanced ones. So I'm just going to tell the wizard that I have selected to research one of these spells, let's say Magic Wall, since it's one of the more interesting ones. And as I click on the spell, the wizard will go over to the library. Oh, well, first he has to fight this freaking necromancer. There we go. After fighting the necromancer, back to the library to research the spell. And he's just going to sit here researching. And you can see in the tech tree, there's this little progress bar that's building up. And once that's done, we will know the Magic Wall spell, and we'll be able to cast it. Okay, now that the Magic Wall spell has been researched, it appears in my list of known spells. I can click Cast to cast it. The Magic Wall spell creates a block that appears for 5 to 8 seconds, and then disappears. Each time I cast Magic Wall, it reduces the mana available in this top right bar by 15. But additionally, these mana crystals in the library recharge the mana bar until they get destroyed. And this way you can keep casting spells until you completely run out of mana. Let's look at some of the other spells that are available. Here I have them all researched. Inspect Objects simply allows you to mouse over objects to see some basic info about them, like the object's name, which is not that useful to be honest, and various other properties. You can also inspect blocks, which is also pretty self-explanatory. It just tells you the kind of block, its health, and its location. Now, you can also inspire dwarves. By casting Inspire on them, it temporarily increases their stats. So now these dwarves are way better at mining, as you will see, and faster. There he goes. It only takes him 2 hits to destroy these blocks while he's inspired. He'll be inspired for a little while until the spell wears off. can also create a magic helper, which is a floating hand that is way better than dwarves at doing pretty much anything, but it only lasts for a few seconds. I'll just tell this magic helper to mine out a series of blocks and bam, he does it immediately. But after a short while, he will just disappear into dust. And he's gone. You can cast happiness on dwarves to temporarily make them unreasonably happy. This is useful if several of your employees have died and the whole morale of the colony is feeling a bit low. Wall spells allow you to place walls instantaneously of several kinds. The magic wall spell creates walls which are invincible but disappear after a short time. The transmute spell allows you to transmute, say, stone into gold. Very useful for your mining operations. You can also destroy blocks magically. And you can heal your dwarves. Those are just the first few spells we've implemented. We hope to implement many more. In general, combat just feels a lot better. It's a lot more balanced, and they engage with each other in combat a lot better now. Overall, goblins are probably the weakest, and necromancers are probably the strongest, since they keep generating skeletons to kill you. I think we'll barely survive this skeleton attack. We've also implemented elves, which are pretty interesting. They're kind of buggy right now, but they do shoot your dwarves with bows and arrows and try to keep a distance from them. Elves, however, are kind of useless underground because they can constantly get backed into corners. Implementing elves required creating a simple projectile system, which we've got working pretty well now. I can pretty efficiently create hundreds of arrows and have them go flying off in all directions. And they'll injure anything that they hit. Factions which hate each other, such as goblins and elves, will fight each other rather than you in combat, usually. Fire looks and behaves a lot better now. It has a lot better particles and it emits light, and most things in the game can light on fire now, not just trees. You'll see that I can light these wood resources on fire, and lava will light things on fire as well. Including now goblins, dwarves, and other creatures. Now for some company management. This is the employee manager screen. On the left are all the employees we've hired, and on the right some of their statistics. Let's look at Ardella McBride, the wizard. She's just arrived at this new land, spoke to a friend recently, researched something, and a friend died. Well, that's pretty sad. No wonder she's not very happy. We could fire her if we wanted to, or hire new employees. This is the list of all people seeking employment, and their requested jobs. The names are randomly picked from the US Census, so I hope your name isn't in there. This is the assets screen where you can buy and sell goods. Buying and selling goods is as simple as clicking on them and then hitting buy or sell. Let's just sell all of the iron in our stockpiles, and we'll get 105 dwarf bucks for that. Now let's look at the stock market. This is our company, and as you can see, we're about to tank. And as soon as that happens, we lose the game. For the rest of the stock market, we just have a bunch of other randomly generated companies, but really they don't do anything right now, and that's something we're looking forward to expanding in future versions of the game. Okay, that's it. We hope to release this version of Alpha 2.0 to our backers soon. We just need to polish a little bit more, fix a few more bugs, and we'll put it out there. And we hope to make more videos like this in the future to let you know what's going on. So until next update, this is Matt from Completely Fair Games. See ya.